What's going on, everybody? It's the Indoor Hunter, and if you're like myself, you've been playing Emerald Coast nonstop since its release. You've been playing around with different loadouts. I myself have been particularly interested just to see which ones work the best. What I'm really enjoying most about Emerald Coast is the diversity of species. We've got animals from Class 1 all the way to Class 9, meaning really the sky's the limit. We can use a variety of weapons. The question is, though, which one is truly the best? Now, obviously, because there are so many different types of species, you can't just pick one weapon to cover them all. However, we can really narrow the list down based on their efficiency against the species on the map. Now, obviously, a lot of this is going to depend on which weapons packs you have, which DLC you have, which ones you don't, and so we're kind of going to go through a variety just to kind of cover our bases. For a non-DLC loadout, the best in-class weapon is going to be the 7mm Regent. It's accurate, it hits hard, it is held back by its single shot capabilities, but because you can use it against Class 4 through 9 animals, you're going to be able to harvest those bantang and crocodiles no problem. And with a plethora of Class 2 through 3 animals, you're definitely going to want to have the 243 Ranger on you at all times, because, well, if you have no DLC, that's all you got. And last but not least, for those pesky level 1 animals like the magpie goose and the stubble quail, you're going to want to have the 12 gauge, either the over-under or the pump shotgun. Now, if magazine size is a worry to you, you can substitute the 7mm Regent with the 270 Huntsman. However, if you choose to do this, you're going to need to pull out the 338 Rangemaster just to tackle those Class 9 animals. As a recap, for those non-DLC users, your number one overall loadout is going to be the 7mm Regent Magnum, the 243, and the 12 gauge shotgun, either the pump or the over-under. So let's talk about a DLC loadout. Again, there's a wide array of DLC loadouts, and if I leave something out, please let me know in the comments below. I'm just going to let you know what I've personally used and what I've seen to work the best. And to help differentiate with such diversity, I'm going to call each of these loadouts something different, starting out, of course, with the Jack of all trades. We're going to begin with the 7mm Malamar, which is the new bolt action 7mm that came with the high power weapons pack, followed up with the 243 Ranger, and of course the 22 Virant or the Zarza 22, whichever one you prefer. 22 is for those Class 1 animals. And truth be told, that 22 is an essential piece of equipment. I've always got it with me, whether it's shooting Class 1 animals or alerting animals so you can get a better shot opportunity. That 22 can obviously be followed up with a shotgun, whatever your preference is there. But it's a really basic and simple loadout, covers the entire species list. Super effective. As I said, it's the jack of all trades. It's not the most efficient. There are obviously better weapons in class, but we'll talk about those here in a second. Using the Jack of all trades loadout is going to free up a ton of inventory space, allowing you to carry tents, tripods, collars, what have you. Now, obviously not all at the same time, but it is going to give you that wiggle room. If you're just now jumping into the map, exploring it, it's always a great idea to have a tent on you. That way you can change time, get supplies, what have you, stuff like that. Next, we have what I've dubbed the Specialist. This is a loadout that is more weapon intensive. You're going to have a lot of weapons on you, and it's more for targeted classes. So for starters, the number one overall for me personally is the British 303. Now, if you don't have Tearoa and don't have access to this, the 30-06, whether that's the Eckers or the M1, is an excellent substitute to this. It's great against kangaroos, roosa deer, stuff like that. And obviously the 308 can go in there as well, whether it's the semi-automatic AR or the new bolt action. For classes 2 through 3, we once again have the 243. Simply put, it's still the best small game rifle, or varmint rifle I should say, in the game. It beats out the 22-250 and it beats out the 223 even after its buff. And for those Class 1 animals, we once again have the 22, whichever one you have or want to use, and then of course whichever shotgun you want to choose. And for our big game species, we have of course the 300. But if you don't have Yukon or don't have access to it, the 338 can obviously fill this slot, or the new 338 in the high power weapons pack. Our next loadout is what I like to call the fun loadout. It's really similar to the other loadouts, except there's a catch. We're going to be using a lot of handguns. You're going to want the 7mm, whether that's the breakover or the new bolt action, just to kind of cover your bases, to have a weapon that you know it's going to work. Outside of that, though, we've got the 243 pistol. You could probably bring the new 10mm with you as well, but I personally wouldn't recommend that just because it's a little bit harder. I would absolutely recommend bringing the 44 Wildcat Magnum because that is an excellent class 3 gun. And last but not least, we have the 454 Rhino. This gun might actually be one of the best guns in the game, especially if you have all the ammunition unlocked for it, along with the handgun scope. This thing can take out reliably class 4 through 9 animals, and it is an excellent saltwater crocodile gun. And then last but certainly not least, we have the Psycho build. This is basically just a compound bow, recurve, or the crossbow. If you try to use this on this map, you're kind of a psycho. That being said, it can be a lot of fun to bow hunt, but I've noticed that kangaroos and stuff like that are pretty hard to do. But let me know in the comments below what your preferred loadout is for Emerald Coast. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.